On my wedding day, my fiancée bribed my trusted aide, Jade, to break my limbs and throw me off a cliff, leaving me to die. Her goal was to have Ethan take my place and marry her, Lily, the wealthy heiress of the Liu family. I died with endless resentment. When I opened my eyes again, I was back on the day Ethan's mother was arrested for stealing. It was time for them to know just how ruthless I could be. A pack of wild wolves tore open my stomach, gnawing at my internal organs. I died in pain and despair once more. Opening my eyes, the excruciating pain was still vivid. I covered my mouth, retching uncontrollably. Immediately, someone rushed over, supporting my trembling body, gently patting my back. "Darren, are you all right? I'll call the doctor right away." The voice was full of concern, but it sent shivers down my spine. I looked up and saw a familiar face, one that chilled me to the bone, Jade, my only female bodyguard, who had cared for me since childhood like a sister. She was also the one who had conspired with Lily to break my limbs and throw me off that cliff. I grabbed the phone on the bedside table. The screen displayed the date, 1 year prior. I had been reborn. Jade was still anxiously calling out to me, but I silently pushed her away, pressing the call button by the bed. A maid rushed in and poured me a glass of water. I took it and drank it all. When I looked up again, my eyes were cold, devoid of any emotion. At this moment, the butler, Arthur, entered and reported that there was a thief in the house. I slowly walked to the front hall. When I arrived, I saw Ethan's mother and Ethan kneeling there. His mother was constantly kowtowing, begging for forgiveness, while Ethan was in tears, but still trying to keep his back straight. I sat down on the sofa, glancing sideways. I saw Jade's hand clenched into a fist, her eyes filled with such pain that they seemed about to overflow. Ethan sobbed, unable to speak clearly. "Brother Darren, it's all my fault. My mother only stole because I'm sick. Please, forgive her." The maids around also chimed in, pleading, "Young master, please forgive them. Madam only did it because young master Ethan's kidney is failing and he needs a transplant. Young master is so kind, he will surely forgive them. Young master, Ethan is so weak, please help him up." Arthur frowned, waiting for me to speak. I asked in a cold voice, "What did she steal?" The space instantly fell silent. Arthur took out a watch. "This is the birthday gift your father gave you." In my previous life, seeing that the watch had been recovered, I didn't pursue the matter further. Arthur once said I was too soft-hearted, not intimidating enough, but Jade said a young master should be benevolent. My fiancée, Lily, also rushed over, taking my hand, and softly said, "You are so generous and gentle." How was I in my past life? So happy I couldn't close my mouth. But now, I just wanted to go back to the past and slap myself hard. But if I was given another chance to live, that slap shouldn't be for myself. I coldly opened my mouth, the illusion diamond of Graph. My father auctioned it for 1.3 billion. You have discerning eyes indeed. Gasps of shock immediately echoed around. 1.3 billion? Did I hear that right? The maids covered their mouths, whispering, 1.3 billion. Madam, how could you do that? Oh heavens, wanting to get a transplant for young Master Ethan doesn't mean you have to steal something so expensive. Anything belonging to the young master is never cheap. Ethan's mother flinched, glancing at me, then wailed even more miserably. Young master, I really didn't know that thing was so expensive. Please, for the sake of the over 10 years I've worked in this house, please forgive me. I won't dare again. Besides, you grew up with Ethan. You wouldn't bear to watch him die, would you? I was disgusted to see Ethan's mother change her expression. Beside her, Ethan's pale face was full of fragile vulnerability, making anyone who looked at him feel pity. Arthur asked, "Anything else stolen?" "No, this is the first time, really." Ethan's mother quickly interjected, cutting Arthur off. Arthur looked at me seriously, seemingly hesitant whether to continue or not. After all, in my past life, I had given Ethan's mother special consideration because Jade and Lily constantly instilled in me that Ethan was pitiful, his mother was pitiful, and I should care for and help them more, so that I could accumulate blessings for the family. Arthur said that according to the surveillance system, Ethan's mother had committed theft a total of 13 times before. She only took some food and silverware, but the top-grade bird's nest, ginseng, and other high-end ingredients were also worth over 500,000. In addition, there were also my clothes and shoes. I had reported it to you before, but you said those things you didn't wear anymore, so taking them was fine. Even louder gasps of astonishment rang out around. The maids couldn't believe that among them was a professional thief who dared to steal so much from their master. I waved my hand. Arthur probably thought I would again show disappointment, but still forgive them. I coldly spoke. Hand her over to the police. Transfer all the evidence to them. My words echoed in the silent space like a sudden thunderclap. Ethan's mother and Ethan forgot to even cry. Arthur also stared blankly at me, as if a new light had been lit in his eyes. He was someone personally trained by my father, intelligent and ruthless like my father, but I was someone too easily softened. Ethan's mother was so scared she froze, but then immediately came to her senses, starting to roll around and kowtow, begging, "Young master, please forgive me. I only did it for this family. I beg you, I beg you." She kowtowed continuously on the Spanish carpet, making heavy thuds. Ethan also cried and pleaded, "Brother Darren, please forgive my mother." I frowned, sneering coldly. "Since when did your mother give birth to another younger brother for me? Who's your brother? Are you worthy?" I turned my head coldly and ordered, "Bruce, drag her away. Too noisy, it's giving me a headache." The chief bodyguard behind me immediately led his men forward, dragging Ethan's mother away. She wailed and screamed miserably, but Bruce covered her mouth and dragged her straight out. Ethan panicked and rushed to pull his mother back, but River flung him aside. Luckily, he didn't fall to the ground. Jade immediately rushed over and caught Ethan. Ethan leaned into her arms, his voice trembling. "Sister Jade, help me beg Brother Darren." "No, beg young master." Jade hugged Ethan tightly, her eyes full of heartache. She turned her head back, angrily reproaching me. "Young master, you are not like this. How could you be so heartless? Quickly tell Arthur to forgive them." Looking at those who had betrayed me in my previous life, I wasn't surprised at all. On the contrary, I just calmly observed her as if looking at a pet. I coldly said, "Jade, have you forgotten whose dog you are?" Jade was stunned, unable to believe I dared to call her a dog. She glared angrily. "Darren, what did you just say? How dare you call me a dog?" I smirked. "Have you forgotten your place? Who allowed you to call me by my name?" Seeing my cold and emotionless face, Jade finally realized I wasn't joking. The reproach in her eyes gradually turned into resentment and hatred, glaring at me. But I didn't care at all. I said in an even tone, "Arthur, I do not tolerate traitors in my house. I also dislike those who are gossipy and badmouth their master in front of me. If there is a next time, just send them to the Joyful Heaven Villa." The maids who were just whispering and gossiping were now all silent. Only Jade looked at me with hateful eyes, while Ethan completely collapsed, shouting, "No." I coldly ordered, "Arthur, take Ethan to the Joyful Heaven Villa. I don't want to hear barking in the house all the time." "Understood, young master." Arthur respectfully nodded, then ordered people to seize Ethan. Ethan was so terrified he clung tightly to Jade, refusing to let go, while Jade truly transformed into a knight protecting her little prince, charging into a fight with Arthur's bodyguards. I slightly glanced at my bodyguards, and immediately they rushed forward together, subduing Jade. Ethan was taken away. River, enraged, shouted at Jade, "Sister Jade, have you forgotten your oath to the old master? How could you disobey the young master's orders?" But Jade was unmoved. She had been spoiled by me to the point of forgetting what master and servant meant. Under the setting sun, in the luxurious and spacious villa, I was still the only master. After that chaotic afternoon, all the maids in the house became much more obedient. When they saw me, their eyes only held fear and respect. As I was enjoying the Brittany blue lobster from France and the American bluefin tuna that Arthur had specially instructed the kitchen to prepare, a cold voice rang out, "Darren, you've caused trouble again today, haven't you?" The person who arrived was graceful, her perfect proportions. Every step exuded elegance and nobility. It was my fiancée, Lily. I couldn't help but laugh coldly. In my heart, I thought, coming so late for your little lover, you're a bit late, aren't you? Seeing that I didn't respond, Lily sat down beside me, took the napkin handed over by a maid, dipped it in water to wipe her hands, then slowly began to peel the lobster. Her slender, white fingers, painted with red nail polish, looked extremely eye-catching. In the past, I thought she perfectly fit all my aesthetic standards, willing to give her all my pampering. Therefore, I gradually lost myself, becoming weak, humble, and fawning over her, no different from an obedient dog. But thinking about it now, I was so foolish. When she finished peeling the shrimp and handed it over, what I received was not gratitude, but a cold look as if withering hands. Her hand paused in midair, seemingly frozen by my gaze. What's wrong? Still angry. She placed the shrimp on my plate, her gesture still as gentle as before. But who could have imagined that she was just an illegitimate child who was not valued? She didn't even have the right to step into the Lou group. If it weren't for me taking a liking to her, how could she have had today? Nurtured like a queen. Ethan grew up with you. Why have you become so estranged? Moreover, his health is already not good. His mother only worried about him. If possible, forgive them. A forgiving person will be blessed by heaven. I smiled, looking at her with meaningful eyes, exactly like the way I used to look at her when I was pursuing her. Lily didn't notice anything, continuing to say, "How about this? I will withdraw the lawsuit against Ethan's mother. If you really care about the lost items, I will compensate for everything on her behalf. Ethan's health is weak. I know you were just talking in anger. You wouldn't really send him to the Joyful Heaven Villa, a place like that. Chaotic with all kinds of people. How could he live there?" I sneered. "Could it be that I haven't been paying enough attention to you lately, so you're in a bad mood? You need to be obedient. Don't always throw tantrums for no reason. You should be generous, forgiving, and gentle like that, and I will like you more, you know?" That arrogant tone made Arthur, Bruce, and Zach, standing beside me, all frown, but no one dared to speak up because they knew how much I loved Lily. I unconditionally fulfilled all her requests. I burst out laughing, my laughter echoing throughout the luxurious dining room. Lily looked at me in confusion, staring blankly. I laughed so much that tears almost came out. "Lily, who gave you the audacity to teach me how to behave? Do you think you're my mother? I'll tell you, even my mother wouldn't dare to order me around. Who do you think you are?" Lily's face slightly changed. I looked at her and lightly slapped her face, a humiliating action. "If you obediently play the role of a good dog to make me happy, maybe I'll throw you a few bones. But now you want to order me, wanting me to become gentle and forgiving so you will like me more." I laughed coldly. "Do you think your liking is worth much? I am a Kai, have you forgotten?" Lily's face suddenly darkened. The face that always attracted everyone's attention finally showed a rare panic. Right, she had forgotten that because I pampered her, she also forgot that my father was a decisive, ruthless, and cruel person, and also forgot that I, his only son, was the one who would inherit the entire family fortune. I wiped my hands and stood up, intending to leave. Lily panicked and rushed to pull me back. "Darren." The arrogance she had maintained for so long made her forget how to please me like she initially did. Slap. A crisp slap landed on Lily's face, her head tilted to one side. She was shocked, covering her face, unable to believe it, looking at me. "Get lost. I will discuss with Kevin and old Master Lou about canceling the engagement." Lily completely panicked. "Darren, I was wrong. Don't be angry." She clung to my arm, using all her strength. Bruce took a deep breath. "Young master." From the bodyguard ranks behind me, the captain stepped forward, one step. Lily's hand tightly gripped mine, her nails digging deep into my skin, causing a sharp pain. "Break her hands," I said indifferently, as if discussing a trivial matter. Immediately, Bruce and Cliff simultaneously took action, so fast that no one could react. In just a blink of an eye, Lily's two slender white arms limply drooped to her sides. The intense pain made her unable to help but scream. Her strength completely drained, Lily uncontrollably collapsed to the floor. "Why, Darren? Aren't you like this? What did I do wrong? Didn't I just plead for Ethan?" Tears streamed down her face, making her look extremely pitiful. I squatted down, looking at her in this disheveled state, my heart filled with a pleasure like someone suddenly becoming rich overnight. But it still wasn't enough, still not enough. I should kill her right now, but I couldn't. There were too many things involved in this. I smirked, my voice mocking. "Just now, didn't you call me Darren, and call that guy Ethan, so intimately? Why are you changing your way of addressing me now? You are truly good at turning your face." My eyes grew colder, my tone full of disgust. "Lily, you've bored me. So I don't need you anymore." Lily widened her eyes, unable to believe her ears. "No way. No way. I know how much you love me." I almost laughed out loud. That's right, I had once loved her to the point of destroying myself. But now, I only wanted to kill her. I looked at Arthur and ordered, "Throw her out." From now on, in the Kai family, dogs and Lily are not allowed to step in. Arthur immediately nodded, as if afraid that hesitation would make me change my mind. This was truly the decisiveness that an heir of the Kai family should have. Throughout that night, Jade didn't appear. I knew where she had gone, but I didn't send anyone to look for her. The next morning, I led my team of bodyguards out. Beside me were 10 trusted aides, 10 orphans selected and raised from childhood in the Kai family. My father had painstakingly trained them to be absolutely loyal followers to me, but I didn't expect that Jade could betray me for Ethan. I arrived at the joyful Heaven Villa. Some young masters and young ladies from the upper circles were already waiting. The manager and staff of the most high-end club under my command immediately surrounded and greeted me. The matter from yesterday, many people already knew. They were so excited they wanted to come find me immediately. I naturally agreed. In my previous life, I only revolved around Lily, so she could shine in the upper circles. How many people flattered her out of respect for me? But she used the excuse of not wanting to rely on me to refuse to come with me to important events. As a result, she used my reputation to become the center of attention, admired by everyone, while I became a fool being used. Now, these people surrounded me again, their eyes as respectful as before. I raised my head high, my gaze noble and cold. Once again, I returned to the image of the true crown prince of the Kai family. I casually asked the manager, Manager Ta, where is the person you sent over yesterday? Why don't I see him entertaining guests? Manager Ta stammered, his face tense, for a long time still not daring to speak the truth. I led people straight inside. Manager Ta intentionally led me to a luxurious room. I waved my hand, and all activity around immediately stopped. From inside the room, intermittent sounds came out. Sister Jade. Thank you for coming. If it weren't for you, I don't know what I would have done. A trembling male voice rang out. Jade gently hugged Ethan, her tone gentle. Sister will definitely not let anyone bully you this time. Darren is too much. When Sister gets back, Sister will definitely help you teach him a lesson. My eyes turned cold. Bruce immediately kicked open the door. Teach you a lesson? The people in the room jumped in fright. The two people hugging each other hurriedly separated. Ethan hid behind Jade, his eyes full of resentment looking at me. Seeing me appear, the people outside also began to whisper. Heavens, did I hear wrong? A bodyguard wants to teach her master a lesson just for a son of a servant. No, you didn't hear wrong. These two dogs are sneaking around together. Young Master Kai is truly too generous. He raises a bunch of dogs, but lets them bite back at him. I think Ethan is still more skilled. A bastard child can make a bodyguard dare to betray her master. Behind me, the bodyguards were all gritting their teeth in anger. Bruce was even more furious, his tone full of hatred. Third sister, you are too much. The young master has treated you the best. Third sister, how could you bite the hand that feeds you like this? Quickly apologized to the young master. Cliff also angrily scolded. Third sister, do you know shame? Who do you think you are to dare to oppose the young master? You always rely on the fact that the young master treats you well, and you're getting more and more out of line. Don't forget who saved you. Is this how you repay the old master's kindness? Being denounced by everyone, Jade became even more furious. She excitedly retorted, Darren Kai, what did Ethan do wrong that you treat him like this? Isn't it because Lily likes Ethan that you're jealous? We treat Ethan well. Haven't you asked yourself why? I laughed coldly. What should I ask myself? In my previous life, I was also very curious. Why did I treat them so well? But in the end, the sister I trusted the most, the person I loved the most, all stood on the opposite side of me. Aren't you willing to think about why you can't be more tolerant? Why you are so heartless? Why not learn to respect others? Jade gritted her teeth, saying. The people around looked at her, as if watching a farce. I suddenly realized I was truly idle to have ever wanted to find that meaningless answer. There are some people who are simply not worthy of being treated well. Because in their eyes, my care is just alms. Only when Ethan, someone just like them, treats them well, do they feel it is sincerity. Have they forgotten? Forgotten that when they were little, I secretly stuffed candy for them? Forgotten that just because of Jade's big, bright eyes, I always treated her especially well? Every day I followed her, calling her sister, and treated her better than anyone else. No matter what dangerous missions, I wouldn't let her do them. Everywhere I went, I arranged the best living conditions for her. Outsiders looking in even thought she was the heiress of some prestigious family. What did Jade once say? Said she would use her life to protect me. Said she would not fail my father's entrustment. But now, the person I once valued pointed at my face, calling me cruel, saying I was not as good as Ethan. Why should I be like Ethan? Whether it's status or ability, I stand at the top of the upper circles. I have enough qualifications to do whatever I want. There are some people who are simply not worth my attention. I coldly ordered Manager Ta. Take Ethan down. Train him well. Immediately, a group of people rushed forward and dragged Ethan away. I looked towards Jade. She was held tightly by people. My cold gaze stopped on her. Bruce, I said. Bruce understood immediately. Young master says one sentence. Jade, disloyal. Sever her tendons and throw her out of the Kai family. Remove her household registration, and she will never be accepted back. Anyone who dares to provide for her will be kicked out of the Kai family immediately. Bruce's face momentarily froze, not expecting I could be so ruthless. After all, Jade was a woman. Jade was also stunned, her mouth open, but unable to utter a word. The bodyguards hesitated slightly. I said coldly, "What? Are you also intending to disobey my orders?" With just one sentence, the entire room immediately erupted in chaos. Several bodyguards hurriedly dragged Jade away. From the next room, her miserable screams echoed. The young masters and young ladies present were all terrified by my decisive actions, but immediately after, they surrounded me, flattering me in all sorts of ways. I enjoyed this moment. I was the ruler. After Ethan was dragged away, he was beaten beyond recognition by Ms. Yang, the specialized trainer of the Joyful Heaven Villa. The young masters in the nightclub knew that he was someone I hated, so they swarmed up to beat him without mercy. In just 2 days, Ethan was tortured to the point of near collapse. Arthur reported that the Liu family had put pressure to expedite the trial process. Ethan's mother was sentenced to 15 years in prison. I narrowed my eyes, listening to the report from my subordinate. Just then, my father called from America. There was always someone in the house reporting my every action to him. He was very satisfied with how I handled everything. I proposed canceling the engagement with the Liu family. My father also did not object. He only said he would personally call the Liu family. I didn't need to personally step forward. In addition, he also said he would arrange a more suitable marriage partner for me this time. I completely listened to my father's arrangements because I really felt that I was not trustworthy. My eye for choosing people was too poor. At this moment, Bruce reported that Ethan had been picked up by someone. That person was Lily. It seemed someone couldn't wait any longer. From childhood to adulthood, I always had bodyguards protecting me. I had never been targeted by my father's enemies. For old Master Lin's birthday this time, my father entrusted me with the responsibility of giving a gift in his place. The Lin family, although not comparable to some large families, was also a prominent business family famous for academics and literature. I gifted him a calligraphy and painting from the Tang dynasty, which old Master Lin loved so much he couldn't put it down. He even wanted to hang it up immediately for worship. Today, I only brought Bruce and Cliff with me. The banquet was not too large, held right at the old villa of the Lin family. The bodyguards of the Kai family not only had outstanding abilities but also had a secret intelligence system on the darknet. A special alarm sounded. I picked up my phone and scanned the content of the message. My whole body instantly stiffened. The blood in my body seemed to freeze. President Kai met with a plane crash. The plane was completely destroyed. No survivors. I almost lost my footing, my whole body trembling. In my previous life, when I died, my father was also present at the wedding. Lily dressed Ethan in my suit, put a mask on him, and told outsiders that I had a severe allergy and couldn't show my face. Ethan and I were originally of similar height, only he was a bit thinner than me. Just with a little cover-up, outsiders couldn't detect the swap at all. Before I completely lost consciousness, I even witnessed Ethan taking Lily's hand and gently placing a kiss on her hand. My hand clenched, my nails digging deep into my palm until it bled. Bruce quickly supported me. I whispered to him this news. Bruce's face immediately changed. He immediately escorted me away. On the car, I frantically contacted my trusted aides in America, but none of them answered. Just as I was anxiously thinking of a way, several cars suddenly rushed towards us. No matter how skilled the driver was, they couldn't avoid being surrounded. A loud crash rang out. I lost consciousness. When I woke up, my whole body ached as if crushed. I had no sensation in my limbs. In the dilapidated house, a figure quietly sat there, coldly watching me. Jade. She stood up and walked closer to me. Indeed, it's you. Her voice was hoarse, carrying an eerie undertone that made others uncomfortable. From her movements, it could be seen that her limbs had not fully recovered. Young master, you were truly heartless. I treated you so well, yet with just one word from you, you crippled me. I narrowed my eyes, looking at her, my voice hoarse. So, you kidnapped me to take revenge? What about my father? Is he all right? Jade laughed coldly. Old master? Of course, he's still safe and sound. Hearing this, I truly relaxed. Luckily, she only faked the news on the darknet to lure me out. For a man to go this far, is it worth it? Jade lowered her head, her voice softly trembling. I don't know, but I never thought that young master could be so heartless. I treated you so well. I narrowed my eyes, staring at her, word by word. I said, do you know why? Jade's eyes darkened. She looked at me, her eyes containing complex emotions that I couldn't understand. I smiled faintly because I have died once already. Jade immediately raised her head sharply, her eyes full of panic. I gritted my teeth, my voice ice cold. Do you know how I died? I was beaten, my limbs broken, thrown off a cliff. Then guess what happened next? A pack of wild wolves smelled the blood and came in droves. They tore open my stomach, pulling out my intestines bit by bit, chewing and swallowing. They even ate my eyes. Every wolf used sharp teeth to tear me apart. Jade, what do you think that feeling is like? Watching my body being torn apart bit by bit, being eaten alive. I stared at her, my voice low and chilling. She froze, unable to believe, looking at me. Her whole body trembled. She slowly squatted down, hugging her head, her whole body shaking. I didn't know if she was really scared or just pretending, but I didn't care. I closed my eyes, my voice as light as if talking about something unrelated to myself. So, I did it. It was you and Lily who broke my limbs on my wedding day, just to help Ethan replace me and marry Lily, enjoying wealth and glory. Jade knelt down, her forehead touching the cold floor. Her whole body trembled nonstop, her voice choked with sobs. So you hate me so much that you crippled me? Hate, I calmly replied. My hatred is to the point where I only want to kill you. Jade didn't say anything more. I gradually sank into pain, my consciousness hazy. When I woke up, Jade had disappeared. I tried to move, but my body still had no strength. I lowered my head and looked down. New wounds appeared on my hands, but not like wolf scratches. That night, Jade returned. She used a wheelchair to take me to another place. It was Lily's villa. She threw me into a luxurious room, then immediately jumped out of the window and left. Not long after, the door opened. Ethan walked in. He no longer had the weak appearance of the past. Instead, he had a smug, arrogant look, looking at me. Oh, look who it is. Young Master Kai also has today, huh? He laughed mockingly. I stared at his smug face, not saying a word. Lily is about to marry me. Do you know? Who told her to love me too much? Whatever I say, she listens to me. Even Jade injured you for me, becoming a cripple. How does it feel? In his eyes, excitement shone, as if enjoying the feeling of controlling everything. Darren Kai, it's all your fault. My mother was sentenced, but don't be too happy too soon. Your good days are also about to end. Lily has contacted the MPI family overseas to cooperate in attacking the Kai family's industry. Surely your old master is also about to run out of steam. I looked at him, my face unchanged, but asked something I had always wondered about. Ethan, the Kai family has never treated you badly. They even let you study with me in a noble school. Why do you hate me? He laughed coldly, his eyes full of resentment. Because I'm jealous. Based on what? Why were you born into such a prestigious family, while I'm just the son of a servant? Based on what? Why were you born with endless wealth, while I have to grovel and please you? Moreover, those bodyguards of yours, I have to flatter them all. Only Jade, that foolish woman, was used by me. If I could have subdued a few more people, maybe you would have died sooner. I laughed coldly. So, you were never sincere to Jade. Ethan burst into mocking laughter. Haha, a lowly dog like her? Is she worthy? Only a young lady like Lily, or a noble young lady from a more prestigious family is worthy. Jade? She's just a bitch that I can manipulate as I please, just like you. Isn't she also raised by you like a dog? I smirked, my tone full of sarcasm. I'm not like Jade. Bruce, Cliff, River, Dean, Zach, Shane, Flynn, 9-2, they are my family. Ethan sneered, family? So what? They have also betrayed you for me. I just need to treat her a little better, pretend to be pitiful, badmouth you a few times, shed a few tears. Occasionally, when she returns from a mission, I help her apply medicine, and that's enough for her to be so infatuated with me that she's dizzy. Even when I said I liked Lily, she could accept it. Tell me, isn't she stupid? I smiled faintly, my tone cold. Jade is indeed too stupid. He proudly laughed loudly. But Darren Kai, your good days are over here. I looked at him and smiled. Really? But what to do? I think Lily is probably dead by now. What? Ethan immediately turned his head sharply, intending to question me. Crash. The sound of glass breaking rang out. Immediately after, a terrifying explosion. The luxurious room instantly turned into a pile of rubble. From the windows and main door, a group of people carrying guns rushed in. Ethan screamed in horror, but was immediately subdued. Cliff took off his mask, respectfully helping me up. Beside him, River quickly stuffed a pill into my mouth. In less than a minute, my limbs gradually regained sensation. Ethan stared blankly at everything happening. You? I looked at him, my tone cold, carrying absolute contempt. Ethan, do you think I'm a fool? Are you overestimating yourself or underestimating me? His face turned pale, his body trembling. I am Darren Kai. My father, Kai Kam Tan, is a renowned businessman, someone that both the white and black worlds must fear, also the owner of a leading financial group. What made you think that I am someone who only knows about blind love? Jade, Lily, are they worthy? To me, having them is fine, not having them is also fine. Cliff threw a black cloth bag into the room. The bag fell to the ground. Something rolled out, stopping right at Ethan's feet. His eyes widened in horror. The object inside was a human head, a pair of lifeless eyes staring straight at him. The entire villa was shaken by Ethan's miserable scream. A thick, fishy smell filled the air. He was so scared he peed his pants. Ethan was scared to the point of fainting. I signaled to Dean to take him away. Bruce slightly bowed, making a gesture of salute. Then I was helped back to the private hospital for a comprehensive checkup. At this moment, Zach brought the phone in front of me, his voice respectful. Old Master is calling. My father's steady, powerful voice rang out from the other end of the line. Son, are you injured? No, that's good. The Liu family just called, wanting to beg for forgiveness. How funny. A small illegitimate daughter dares to cooperate with a foreign gang branch to fight against the Kai family. Her daring to assassinate you is no different from seeking death. I listened to my father's arrogant tone, unable to help but laugh. He was always like this, strong and domineering, unshakable. My father laughed contentedly, but still my son is the most high capable, knowing to be prepared beforehand. Otherwise, maybe some close people beside you would have been bribed. Do you know, people are always insatiable. His voice suddenly lowered. I heard Jade also betrayed you? Have you caught her? I coldly replied, not yet. My father snorted coldly, don't be soft-hearted with this kind of person. Understood, father. The call ended. I lay on the bed, relaxing my body. When I woke up, Dean had brought in an Ethan who had been tortured beyond human recognition. Beside him was Jade, her limbs all broken. Ethan was almost unrecognizable. Dean was very good at torture. He had poked Ethan's eyes, his whole face was swollen and deformed. Both wrists were neatly severed, and his legs were also cut off. Now he was no different from a useless rag doll. Jade was different. She had no expression, her eyes blankly staring at me. As soon as Ethan saw her, he began to struggle violently. Sister Jade. Sister Jade, please beg young master to forgive me. But Jade didn't move. She just quietly looked at me, her eyes red-rimmed, her voice hoarse, asking, Young master, are you in pain? I smirked. Are you asking which time? Jade choked, unable to continue speaking. She tremblingly knelt down, slowly crawling to my front. I had a dream. In the dream, it was exactly what you said. I didn't dare to believe it. Didn't dare to believe I would actually attack you. I didn't believe it. So when Lily and Ethan told me to break your limbs, I chose to drug you. I only wanted to teach you a lesson, but in that dilapidated house, when you recounted everything, I believed it. I believed that everything had really happened. How could I do that? How could I lay a hand on you? Clearly, you personally raised me. Her sobs echoed. Jade cried like pear blossoms in the rain, in extreme pain. I didn't expect that she could remember the events of the previous life, but that was also good. I wanted her to live in regret. I looked at her and softly asked, regret? Jade shed tears, her whole body trembling. Regret, regret. From the day I took you to the Liu family, I have regretted it. I didn't leave immediately, but stood outside the window. I heard what Ethan said. I originally intended to go in and save you, but when I saw Bruce and everyone arrive, I ran away. I didn't dare to face you. I was wrong. I couldn't believe myself that I would betray you just for such a person. I coldly said, cannot forgive yourself? Then die. My words were like a hammer blow, striking Jade's heart. I stared at her, my voice cold. In my previous life, I truly regarded you as a sister. In the end, what did I do to make you so disgusted that you would kill me? She burst into tears, continuously shaking her head. No. No, it's not like that. Lily and I only wanted you to leave here first, not wanting you to die. It was Lily who struck. I only wanted to push you off the cliff because your body was originally so weak, you wouldn't be able to climb up, couldn't find anyone to save you. Just wait until after the wedding is over, I would go find you and take you away. As long as you don't bother Ethan, everything could be resolved. I didn't think you would die, but when I arrived, you had disappeared, only a large bloodstain left. So much blood, too much blood. I smirked. So what happened after that? Jade choked, her voice trembling. The next day, Bruce and everyone found Old Master. He led a group of bodyguards to your honeymoon villa, but unexpectedly, Lily had already left the country with Ethan. They even told outsiders that they were going on their honeymoon with you. So Old Master immediately used a private plane to hunt them down. When they were caught, Lily was with Ethan. After questioning, they finally found out that you had disappeared. Old Master was enraged to the extreme. He directly shot Lily in the head on the spot. Then he threw Ethan into the Golden Triangle, the hell of the underworld. When I was arrested, I told the truth about being thrown off the cliff. Right before his heart attack, Old Master ordered Bruce to imprison Jade in the lion-tiger cage, a cruel place where only death awaits. So in the end, they all died. I chuckled, laughing until tears fell. They wanted to escape my father's control? How could they? A bunch of clowns like them. How could I have tolerated letting them jump around in front of me? I should have killed Ethan in the beginning. Darren, I'm sorry. Jade softly called my name, her voice again carrying the gentleness of the past. Immediately after, she bit her tongue hard, ending her own life. I quietly watched the scene before me, without a trace of emotion. Ethan was completely terrified to the point of peeing his pants. Dean dragged him away. How could I let him die so easily? What awaited him was endless regret. Regret for why he was jealous of someone he could never compare to.